Scanning for audio.
Welcome to another Tin Dog podcast. Now, I know you're expecting a review of The 11th Hour, but I've been away. I have made some notes, and that podcast will come very, very shortly. Also, coming quite soon, is a review of Creature from Pit. But, to tide us over until then, here's a couple of things you might have missed. The first is Matt Smith's appearance on Jonathan Ross, which, as you may be aware, may or may not contain spoilers. I know that many of my listeners are not in the UK and may have missed this. Similarly, the second half of this podcast is an interview with Stephen Moffat, first heard on Radio 4. The TDP will be back very shortly with the 11th Hour, Smith 1.1, and then Smith 1.2, or Series 31, or whatever you want to call it. So until then, be seeing you, and here's the interviews.
Get my next guest out, ladies and gentlemen. Before we do, I'm so excited. We're going to show you an exclusive clip a little bit later on, but here, to get us in the mood, here's a sneak preview of him as the new Doctor.
When I was a little girl, I dreamed of time and space. Last night, all my dreams came true.
Where do you want to start?
Anywhere you want, any time you want. One condition, it has to be amazing.
It begins!
Because this is what I do every time, every day, every second. This. Tell me the whole plan. One day that'll work.
There's one thing you never put in a trap if you're smart, if you value your continued existence. If you have any plans about seeing tomorrow, there's one thing you never, ever put in a trap. Me.
Please welcome the man we're all going to have to learn to call Dr. Matt Smith. Doctor, give me the news. I got a bad case of loving you. No kills gonna kill my ass. I got a bad case of loving you. Matt Smith.
Yo, hello everyone. There's a whole audience here.
It's a whole audience here,
Yeah.
and many of them, like me, are very excited to meet you properly.
Well, that's a... Thank you very much for saying so.
We're excited because, of course, you are now the Doctor.
I am.
What a thing that must be. What a change in your life already, even though we haven't seen the shows yet, even though the impact hasn't been felt. When did you audition for this role? When and how did you find out you got it?
Well, my mum randomly texted me saying, you should be the next Doctor, about a sort of week before my agent called me and said, do you fancy auditioning for the part? And so I said, yeah. And then I went for two kind of secret auditions where you have to sign in.
Yeah, they've got to keep them secret. There's a big interest in this.
Yes. I mean, you know, we're showing the new ep on the 3rd, and it feels like a massive security breach, frankly. But anyway, so I auditioned, and I thought nothing of it, really, and it was in a very trashy hotel. And then I got a call back from my agent saying, yeah, you can go again. So I went for the second one. I just tried to do it as sort of clearly and creatively and honestly as I could, which is all you can ever do. You know?
Matt, let me interrupt you. When you audition, do they give you a script of a Doctor Who episode? Do they ask you to do something for new? So they give one that's been out already, or a new one?
No, they gave me Ep 1.
So they gave you something from the new series.
Well, you know, first it was just some sides, and then it was the whole ep. And I read it because I was part of that barren age where it wasn't on TV.
Yeah. The dark years, we call them.
The dark years. What were they doing, right? Come on, it's Doctor Who, it's the best. Anyway, I digress. Anyway, so I got the part, and then I found out, and then, of course, I couldn't tell anyone for 3 months.
So they told you had the part, and you couldn't tell anyone. You couldn't even tell family. They didn't want you to
I
tell
told
friends.
my mum, my dad, and my granddad. I told them on Christmas Eve, and he was very excited, and my sister. But that was it. That was literally it.
So you have to keep it quiet.
Yeah, of course.
How great to be the new Doctor. How excited are you?
Oh man, I'm thrilled. I mean, I don't know. To my mind, it is pretty much the best part in British televisual history, isn't it? I think. And of course, what's really truly incredible about it is that you're not bound by space or time or logic or genre. So as an actor, it's sort of infinite, really.
Because you can do it. You can be a Shakespearean character in it. You can also be in the far-flung future. You can even be a different character. I mean, in the David Tennant years, of course, and sadly they're over.
Yeah,
and he was a tremendous Doctor.
He was wonderful,
As was Christopher Eccleston as well.
I loved Chris as well. I thought Chris was great.
But there was one small story strand where he'd completely forgotten he was the Doctor.
Who? David did?
Yeah.
In the show, you mean?
Do you not watch the series?
Oh, sorry, you mean in the actual, as a narrative structure?
Real life, he didn't
right,
lose his memory.
of course,
He didn't wake up and said, I'm out of work.
Be worrying,
But
wouldn't
I'm
it?
saying, as an actor, that must be great knowing the infinite possibilities, nearly.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's something that obviously as the series goes on, you realise more and more. And I think my Doctor probably becomes more assured as the series evolves and develops. And I mean, of course, it's infinite narrative, and therefore there are infinite multitudes of the character that you can explore and that sort of become more and more interesting. I mean, we meet the companion in a very ingenious way. I showed it you earlier. I've got this to show you, sir.
This is the new Sonic
That's the new
screwdriver.
Sonic, man.
Wow, this is the proper one.
That's it.
This is the one you use in the show?
Yeah.
Because I know they're going to bring out toy version of this, and I've held one of the toy ones, and obviously it's considerably larger. This is the actual one?
That is the one.
Oh, man, I'm excited now.
Yeah, of course, right? It's cool, isn't it? And that's where he checks all his readings.
Someone's trousers are going to fall down right now. Did you, when you got it, did you practice at home brandishing it and whipping out your pocket? And
Absolutely. And I sort of tossed it a few times. Can I say that? Yeah. There you are. And that's where he checks his readings.
Oh, you like that?
Yeah.
It's
and
exciting.
I started doing that quite a lot to start with.
So
because the weight of it's different to the old one, because I use the old one, of course.
So when they make you a prop, you do at the beginning, they give it to you to go and to make it your own, to play around with it.
Yeah. I think with anything dramatic, you sort of have to reinvent it as your own thing,
Now, the TARDIS is different as well, isn't it?
It is, yeah. You're going to love that. It's great.
How is it different?
Again, I can't give too much away.
Oh, come on.
It's bigger. There you go, it's bigger.
Well, how can it be bigger?
Well, it's bigger.
What, bigger on the inside?
It's bigger on the inside than bigger on the inside previously. Yeah, it's bigger.
But the outside is still smaller.
The outside is still a police blue box, yeah.
So the outside looks exactly the same?
Well, it's a different tint. There's a different blue.
That's not the most exciting revelation
really? Okay,
I could have
sorry.
winkled out of you.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's sort of bigger on the inside. There are... it's difficult because you can't really give away a lot. There are levels to it, I'll say that.
It's got whole other rooms.
Oh, yes, it's got whole other rooms, yes. It's got a pool and a library and...
It has got a library, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Is there like a hot tub in there for like smoochy nights?
For alone time with me and Amy, yes.
So Amy is the new companion.
Yes, the lovely new companion played by Karen Gillan, who's
Karen Gillan, a lovely young actress, and they've gone for a ginger lady again.
They have, yes, a fiery red.
Is this a kind of like a proactive thing? They're trying to welcome them back into the bosom of... No, because a ginger person gets a bad time, can get a hard time in the UK, the ginger mingers. And now they're saying, that's what people call them. And so they're saying, no, look.
Redheads are cool.
Doctor loves a redhead person. Boom.
Yeah, I think gingers are pretty hip. I mean, you've seen her. She's a 10.
Sober 10 or drunk 10?
No, I wouldn't do them. No, yeah. No, it's a joke.
We have a clip. I couldn't be more excited about this. This is a sneak peek at a scene which I think is in episode 6. So
I can tell you about Ep 6 then, once we've seen this, yeah.
But before we do, how many are there in this series, and how many have you finished shooting them all already?
Yeah.
So you finished shooting all of them?
We've shot 13, and so we've done all 13, and it's strange, you spend your... Because it takes up all your time, just, the line learning is extraordinary, so... It's strange now to suddenly hand it over and people are going to...
So you can relax a little bit?
Yeah, well, I guess so, yeah.
OK, let's have a look. This is from episode 6. Can you tell us anything about this? Do you want me
I
to...
can. This episode is called Vampires in Venice.
And you didn't shoot it in Venice, presumably?
No, we shot it in Croatia, which doubles up rather superbly for Venice, I must say.
So you shoot some in Wales, and then you do go to parts of Croatia? Or...
Some stuff is on location, yeah. And we went to a forest called Puzzlewood, and we went to Stonehenge.
So, so there's a Druid episode.
Yeah, which is rather glorious. And we got to go in the middle of it, which was...
Were you remotely tempted to carve your initials with one of them?
Absolutely. I wanted to climb on one, but they weren't having any of it. Yeah.
Let's have a look now, then. Vampires in Venice. Look at this.
Hello, handsome.
Who are you?
How are you doing that? I am loving it. You're like Houdini, only 5 slightly scary girls, and he was shorter, will be shorter. I'm rambling.
I'll ask you again, Signor. Who are you?
Why don't you check this out? Library card, of course. It's with these, I need to spare, pale, creepy girls who don't like sunlight and can't be seen. Ha! Am I thinking what I think I'm thinking? But the city, why shut down the city?
Leave now, Signor, or we shall call for the steward. If you're lucky.
Tell me the whole plan! One day that'll work. Listen, I would love to stay here. This whole thing, I'm thrilled. Oh, this is Christmas.
That looks great, doesn't it? Doesn't it look great?
Yeah.
And the outfit we saw you in there, which is the little bow tie and all that, is that the outfit that you wear as a doctor?
Yeah, that is. But, it varies. And one thing I will say about this particular doctor and his costume is I think it will evolve, I think it will be something that is... I quite like a hat.
Well, you should have a word with him.
Yeah, I have had a word.
Can you bring in your own things and say, how about this?
Yeah. I mean, I brought in the tweed jacket and the braces, and then I tried a bow tie, and they're a bit like... I don't know, but it just sort of sat right.
So how long will you stay in the role? How long have you agreed to stay at the moment, and could that or would that be extended, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, look, I hope to do at least... Well, I hope to do at least another year and ideally a couple more years. We'll see. Because it's a wonderful part and I want to keep it. And I've, sort of got my teeth into it now. And it's...
So David was there for 4 years, I think.
He was, yeah.
I think the longest-serving doctor is Tom Baker.
7, wasn't it?
7 years,
Yeah.
I know a few people involved in the series and TV. Some people have been writing, some people who've just involved as future writers. And everyone who's seen the footage of you has said it's going to blow everyone away.
That's very kind of you to say. Thank you.
You're incredible in the role.
Thank you.
I don't think it's a task that many people would envy, following David Tennant, who was just incredible. I mean, really was. And that last couple of episodes, I don't think I've engaged as fully with drama on TV. It was
but
incredible.
that's what it can do. That's the beauty of it.
That's the power of it.
Yeah.
But you are apparently living up to all those expectations. So I can't wait to see it. I welcome you to the role. I hope you have a tremendous time doing it, and I'm sure it's going to be an exciting new time for everyone who loves the series. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Matt Smith.
Thank you, Jonathan.
This is interview 2 with Stephen Moffat, taken from BBC Radio 4's Front Row.
But we start with one of television's most famous names, following the addition of 2 new faces.
I've got to get back in there! The engines are phasing! It's gonna burn!
It's just a box. How can a box have engine?
It's not a box. It's a time machine.
What? A real one? You've got a real time machine?
Not for much longer if I can't get it stabilised. 5-minute hop into the future should do it.
Matt Smith taking over from David Tennant as Doctor Who in an episode called The 11th Hour, which opens a new series on Saturday. That young girl turns out to have a double significance. The changeover at the controls of the TARDIS coincides with a switch behind the scenes. Stephen Moffat, my next guest, replaces as lead writer and producer Russell T Davies, who took a show which had become a bad joke in the history of TV sci-fi and turned it into a multimedia success. Moffat started in children's TV with Press Gang and subsequently created series including doing the dating comedy Coupling. He'd previously written episodes for Doctor Who, but I wondered if, on becoming top man, he needed to mug up frantically on past details, such as the properties of a sonic screwdriver.
Do you know, there really aren't any things I have to check for two reasons. One, I really do know the history of Doctor Who very, very well. And the other reason is that Doctor Who's history is always made up in the moment. I mean, it's absolute nonsense. The properties of the sonic screwdriver, it can do anything unless it's really vital to the plot, in which case it can't.
Because the batteries run out if necessary and that kind of thing.
Or he forgets, or he leaves it in the TARDIS. Oh, no, or there's a deadlock, or a triple deadlock, or some kind of thing. He can never get through a door that's really important. That's the absolute truth about the sonic screwdriver.
One of the things you were dealing with, which could be seen as an advantage, disadvantage, was the introduction of a new Doctor. But did you make that decision, the casting decision? Was that you?
What, choosing Matt Smith?
Yeah.
Well, yes. I mean, yes, it was me and Piers Wenger and Andy Pryor. Yeah, absolutely.
And there's lots of speculation, as you know, about it might be the first black Doctor Who, it might be the first woman Doctor Who, it might be the first black woman Doctor Who. I mean, there were many, many possibilities. But were those ever in play, or was it always going to be another white male?
It was never going to be a woman Doctor Who. We never contemplated that, because I think it might happen someday with some of the bigger imagination than me. I just think at this moment, when you're trying to convince everybody it's the same man with a new face, I think narratively you're pushing it. I think you're starting to play games with it if you say, and now he's a woman. Black? Certainly, yes, no problem with that. He changes his hair colour. Why couldn't he change his skin colour? He changes his height. That's a real mystery.
And you've played, as a writer, you seem to me, watching the first episode, to have enjoyed this. You've thought about what it would mean to be bodily transformed. And a couple of times the Doctor says, I'm still cooking. So you've thought through quite carefully that it isn't just a switch going on and off. He is becoming something else.
We talked a lot about it when making that episode. You know, a few minutes ago, he was David Tennant and saying goodbye to Rose Tyler. And now he's in the thick of another adventure very, very quickly. It's not even the traditional period of unconsciousness. So in a way, he's still settling into his new form. He's still a bit David-y, and then discovering those things don't work for him. Imagine what it would be like. It's a fascinating thing to write. Imagine you woke up and you're literally somebody else. You look different, sound different, you probably feel a bit different. How do you cope with it?
There's a tradition in politics, I think you probably know, that the somebody who's leaving, a prime minister, they leave a sealed envelope for their successor with instructions and warnings and advice. So did Russell T Davies and David Tennant leave envelopes for you and Matt Smith?
I don't know if... Well, actually, do you know, David did leave an envelope for Matt, and I don't know what's in it. Matt has refused to divulge, even to me, what was in that envelope. As for Russell, he left a note saying, can I please have the preview discs on or before transmission? Because, as you know, he's a huge fan, and he's just sitting down waiting to watch the first episodes he knows nothing about.
Has he seen them yet?
He hasn't, no. He's seen what he had to, for reasons I won't go into, see one episode which he had a look at, which he was very excited about. But no, he hasn't. He's trying to be quite pure about it. If you can imagine, he's the one Doctor Who fan on the planet for whom the show has not yet returned, because he's had to work on all of them. So he's actually he's trying to preserve it. But the thing he can't stand out there in LA is he might not actually get. There might be loads of folk who see it before him. So the steam's come out his ears, and he's saying, "Where are my discs?"
That's fascinating detail, which could spawn a billion websites. Why on earth would he have to have seen one episode? There's some kind of narrative connection, is there?
Heaven knows why. Then silence fell.
We can all start really speculating about why that might be. Russell T Davies always said that he preferred the one set in contemporary, recognisable Britain. Now, you in your first episode have gone for contemporary, recognisable Britain rather than the planet Moffati or anything.
The planet Moffati. Well, look, there's been an awful lot of Doctor Who set in contemporary Earth, and I can exclusively reveal now why that is. It's shot there. We don't really get to go to other planets. If everything is exotic and new, if it's an entirely new alien world with no human creatures, and the Doctor ends up being the dullest person there because he's the one you know, you really want the Doctor to be the mysterious stranger writing into our lives and saving us, whether we portray that in history or the future or in some other planet where humans are. We do make it a human story. Very, very, very few Doctor Who stories have dispensed with other human beings altogether.
And so, as you're saying, it is cheaper.
It's affordable. I mean, you know, listen, the things we try and do on Doctor Who on the budget we have are huge and spectacular. And, you know, do you want a huge, fantastic crashing spaceship, or do you want everyone to be the colour blue? You know, I think I'll go for the huge crashing spaceship, thank you.
Very good, Stephen. So you're learning showrunner technology and terminology already. You're saying affordable rather than cheaper, so the BBC will like that. You'll be saying efficiency savings soon.
Efficiency savings, damn right, of course. How else will Doctor Who survive unless it does those things? As I keep saying, look, you know that police box TARDIS? That's the most creatively managed budget cut in history. It was meant to be a sphere. It was meant to be a mysterious door. They couldn't afford anything. They had a police box, so they made a box bigger on the inside than the outside and came up with the best idea in fiction ever, in my slightly biased view. So, listen, Doctor Who is designed to survive budget cuts and efficiencies, whatever we're calling them. And trust me, you've seen the trailer. Doesn't look cheaper, does it?
It certainly doesn't, no. There was a theory among some people that the canny Russell T Davies had got out before the big budget cuts hit the series and leaving them to you to inherit. But there is some truth in that, is there?
Not a bit of it. Look, every single year in television, every single day in television, you know that people say, oh, it's now much tougher than it used to be. If it really had been getting that much tougher at the rate people have been claiming, we'd now be making television with a candle and some sticks.
You started off in children's television with press gangs, so to what extent, because the genre of this is interesting. I mean, the two you've been most associated with are comedy and children's. But it's not really clear. Doctor Who is kind of cross-genre now, isn't it? Because it has all sorts of different audiences.
Yeah, and it is properly a cross-genre show. I mean, it's a sort of hammer horror that goes out in a showbiz slot. You half expect to have a shiny floor at times. It's for children, yet it's for adults. It's comedy, yet it's drama. You need to be able to do everything, really. I mean, technically, it's the most demanding thing you could possibly write.
There is, to some people, an ethical question: how frightening can it get in that time slot? Over the decades, that's always been discussed, hiding behind the sofa. Do you have a hiding behind the sofa test for an episode?
I will always show the episodes to my two little boys who are 8 and 10 because they will want to see them, and I've got no compunction about Doctor Who being scary. If you could vote in the playgrounds of Britain about whether Doctor Who should be scary or not, they'll tell you it's got to be scary or it's not Doctor Who. And if people are worried that because the man who wrote Blink has taken it over, that it's going to be scary every single week, tough.
So, have your boys given any useful creative notes?
Yes, always, yes, and they're always coming up to my room. I was once sitting at my little boy Louis was having a birthday party downstairs, and I was tapping away at my computer, and suddenly the entire birthday party walked in behind me, and Louis said, "We've just decided to come and watch you write Doctor Who." I was like, "No, you can't, get out." Yes, they're always coming up with ideas for monsters, and the title for episode 5, Flesh and Stone, was Joshua's idea. I'd called it something to do with angels, and he said, "Oh, we know there are angels in it, that's boring."
And are they allowed to veto anything other than titles?
Well, no, I wouldn't technically call it a veto, but I'm very interested if they're bored or not interested, because that's the heartland of it. I mean, not the entire audience isn't 8 or 10 years old, but everyone who watches that show properly is watching it as an 8 or a 10-year-old, surely. It's meant to turn you into a child.
And the monsters, they're an interesting area because they sometimes, some of them are too frightening, some of them are too risible if you look back over history. So it's getting that balance between them within the efficiency savings.
You're really worried about these efficiency savings. I refer you again to the trailer. Look how expensive it is. We're very, very careful. I mean, it's the toughest thing on earth not to be unintentionally funny with the monster. I'm sort of, in a fanish way, extremely nervous of anything ever looking a bit pony.
The other decision you have to make, clearly, when you take over, anyone taking over Doctor Who, is how many of the previous characters or monsters or mechanical dogs to bring in. Do you have a policy on that?
Generally speaking, sequels are less good than originals. So every time, if you commit Doctor Who to nothing but bringing back old characters or old monsters, you commit it to a series of sequels. It's like Doctor Who 2, and you know that won't be as good as Doctor Who 1. Having said that, great monsters must return. So you balance those two things. Most of Doctor Who should be mostly new.
A lot of people will want to see the Daleks and the Cybermen, won't they?
Yes, all sensible people, well brought up people who want to see them again. And
they will they?
They'll definitely see the Daleks. I mean, look, the Doctor isn't the Doctor till he's defeated the Daleks. Come on, so they'll be there, yes. But they're a regular character. They're more than a returning monster. They're practically a regular character.
Have you come up with anything new for Daleks? I mean, Russell T Davies had a few jokes about their inability to go through doors upstairs. Sorry, upstairs, that was his bit he put in. But have you changed the range of the Daleks at all?
Wait and see.
Well, I hope you enjoyed these little interviews. The TDP will return to normal service very, very shortly with a review of the 11th Hour. Be seeing you. You have been listening to the Tin Dog Podcast. Doctor Who and its associated shows are all trademark of the BBC. No infringement is intended. Contact us at tin-dog@hotmail.co.uk.